بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, especially merciful to the believers. All praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and the praise of Allah and His peace upon the Messenger of Allah and all his family who are believers, and his companions, and whoever follows his religion until the day of judgment. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today we have the great privilege and honor to be here together to talk about one of the great scholars of Islam, Imam Al-Shafi, rahimahullah. May Allah have mercy on him. Today we have the great honor and privilege of having glimpses, because really it's difficult to cover the life of people like that in 1 hour or even a little bit more. Imam Al-Zahabi rahimahullah, I told you when we were talking about Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah that Imam Al-Zahabi said the biography of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah requires about 2 volumes. And of course, to read 2 volumes is a big job. And Imam Al-Shafi'i the same. We can't really show everything in a very short lecture. But in Arabic they say a nice saying, and I advise all my brothers and sisters to learn Arabic to appreciate its beauty. مَا لَا يُدْرَكُ كُلُّهُ لَا يُدْرَكُ جُلُّهُ. What we can't do everything of, we try to do most of. So we try, inshallah, to do whatever we can and have some insight into these great people, what made them work, how they dealt with problems, so that we can benefit from that, how they used to understand the Quran, how they used to understand the way of the Prophet ﷺ. And Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, his full name is Muhammad bin Idris bin Al-Abbas Al-Shafi'i. It's very long, but for the sake of time, I just say that. Abu Abdullah, he's the father of Abdullah. Al-Qurashi, he's from Quraysh. Thumma Al-Muttalibi, because he's one of the offspring of Al-Muttalib, who was the brother of Hashim. And Hashim, of course, as you know probably, is the father of Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ. So Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah is related to the Prophet ﷺ. Al-Makki, he was in Mecca for a while. Al-Ghazi Al-Mawlid, he was born in Gaza. Imam Al-Zahabi rahimahullah said about him, he said, Imam Al-Imam, the great leader, the great Imam, the alim of his time, alim al-asr, nasr al-hadith, the one who assisted and helped hadith, faqih al-millah. He's one of the great scholars of fiqh and understanding people of this religion. His father Idris died while the Imam was still, his father was still young, and so Muhammad, which is the Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he grew up as an orphan, because the definition of an orphan in Islam you probably know, but just to remind, an orphan in Islam is any child who has not reached the age of puberty and they do not have a father. They may have a mother, but because they don't have a father, they're considered to be yatim, an orphan, because they don't have the person who provides for them. So that's very important to understand. This is not the linguistic definition of yatim, this is the definition in Sharia. Linguistically it may mean, and it's very often misunderstood, because in many cultures an orphan is the one who doesn't have both the father and the mother. So if one of those conditions is missing, i.e. either the person or the child is no longer a child, they have reached the age of puberty, or they have their father but no mother, they are not considered to be an orphan. So his mother feared that he would be corrupted because he didn't have a father. This point I want to make very strongly, because you can see single mothers everywhere, in any culture. If they don't have a husband, children will overwhelm them, whether they are boys or girls. That is something you don't need to prove. It's proven. It's every day proven outside. So his mother was clever, because any woman who understands it is a clever woman. Any woman who understands that she is a woman is a clever woman. Any man who understands he has to be a man is a clever man. So his mother understood it. So she went to Mecca, because at least if she didn't have a husband, Mecca is always full of ulama, scholars of Islam. So he would be close to them. So he grew up in Mecca near scholars, and for one reason or another he decided to take up archery. And he excelled to the extent that he, according to himself, he used, out of 10 efforts, he used to hit the target 10 times. So that is almost 100% if he missed at all. Then, while young still, he started learning Arabic. Learning Arabic. At that time, living among the Arabs. In Mecca, yes. Not in the UK, without Arabs who know Arabic. So yes, an Arab has to learn Arabic, because not every Arab who walks the face of the earth knows Arabic. I would even say most Arabs, they don't know Arabic, unfortunately. That's very sad to acknowledge, because Arabic should be in our hearts bigger than any other language, because we are Muslims. And Arabic is our language, is the language of our religion. So we should not allow anyone to make English or French or any other language, even our own language, bigger in our hearts than Arabic, because we should love it for the sake of Allah. So Imam Al-Shafi rahimahullah, he started, as they said, أقبل على العربية. He started learning Arabic and the Sharia, and he had tremendous ability in that. That's why the scholars say you should try and direct your child to any good ability that they demonstrate. So if they demonstrate very good ability in memorizing things, you shouldn't stop them from that. You should encourage and help them. So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was like that, and not only could he memorize, he could also understand, which is very important. So then the science of fiqh, which in Sharia of course means the ahkam, what some ulama said, the far'iyya, other than tawheed, the ahkam, the rulings deducted from their proofs, that's fiqh. So he directed his attention to fiqh, and Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah said he became the leader of his time. Not his time only, I add from myself. Imam Shafi'i, I challenge you now from his time till now to show me anyone who goes near Shafi'i rahimahullah. And he only lived, we will see, a short life, not very long. So these people are exceptional. Some people who come after us, they will say, those people used to live in the time of Sheikh Al-Albani. Yeah, they will say. We now think we live in the worst time. Some people tell us. But it's not the worst time. Some people who come after us, they will say they used to live in the time of Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, those great ulama. So we should treasure them. Like Imam Shafi'i, people who used to live with him, those who were clever, they used to treasure them. These great imams, rahimahumullah. So as it was the habit and it should be, and alhamdulillah until now with the ulama, they used to always learn from the people near them, in their city or village or whatever. So he took knowledge in Mecca from Muslim bin Khalid al-Zanji, who was the Mufti of Mecca at the time, rahimahullah. By the way, he's weak in hadith, but he was a Mufti of Mecca. Sufyan bin Uyayna, I don't need to introduce Sufyan bin Uyayna, rahimahullah, Imam, great Imam. Fudayl bin Iyad, doesn't need introduction, and others. So I mean, you have 2-3 Imams of their time. Then when he was just 20 something, Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, and already they allowed him to give fatwa. 20 plus, because he was exceptional. You know, when you have exceptional people, they are an exception to the rule. Meaning the rule is, if you reach 40, maybe they give you permission to give fatwa. When you have an exception, the rule doesn't apply. Meaning the exception applies. The exception is if you have a 20-year-old, you will say shab or kid or whatever you want to say, but he's serious, he's knowledgeable, he's understanding. Why you need to wait for 20 years for him to give fatwa? So the ulama, they know, and they say you can give fatwa. Even they say, what are you waiting for? So they do not do it until the ulama, the scholars, they teach us, they say to them to do it. So already they permitted him, but he decided to go to Medina because that was another center of knowledge. And of course Imam Malik rahimahullah was in Medina, so he studied from Imam Malik, and at the time no other book was better than the Muwatta of Imam Malik rahimahullah. So Imam Shafi'i praised Al-Muwatta greatly, and he also took the Al-Muwatta, the book of Hadith and Fatwa, from Imam Malik rahimahullah. Also he traveled to Yemen, which was also a center of knowledge, and he took from the ulama of Yemen. He traveled to Baghdad, and he took from Muhammad bin al-Hasan rahimahullah, the faqih of Iraq, and he stayed a while with him. And he also took knowledge from other scholars in Baghdad. And he also authored books. That's why, and I mentioned in the previous lecture or lectures, that scholars normally author for 2 main reasons. There are other reasons, but they are the 2 main. One is when they are asked by someone, and that's the number 1 reason, because normally they don't want to author. Unlike our time, when everyone who doesn't need to author, authors books. Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah said in Tadhkiratul Huffaz, is a nice book about the Huffaz, the people who preserved hadith. At the beginning he wrote, and he was complaining. He said everyone is authoring books now, it's his time. But I don't know, we should be quiet now. Now Allahul Musta'an. Now technology is not on our side. So he said one of the things in a poetry form, لَسْتَ مِنْ أَهْلِ التَّصْنِيفِ وَإِنْ سَوَّدْتَ وَجْهَكَ بِالْمِدَادِ. He said to someone, I don't know who, you are not from the people who should be authoring books, even if you cover your face in ink. It's an exaggeration, meaning whatever ink you use, and you shouldn't be using it. So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he authored one of the great books I found here in the library in the masjid, translation, of course, mashallah, and it's not easy to translate Ar-Risala. One of the great scholars, Abdurrahman bin Mahdi rahimahullah, he asked Imam Shafi'i again, and they ask, they don't. He asked, he said, can you write for me something about the Quran and the rules and this, and how the Quran explains some part, explain the other, and nasikh mansukh, some of the Quran has been abrogated, the hukum, the ruling, but it's still in the book of Allah, and so on. And he wrote a message to him, which the Arabic looks bigger, to be honest. I don't know how, maybe they made small, yeah. The Arabic looks bigger, at least the one I've got in my library looks bigger, and it's one of the greatest books and easiest you will read, subhanallah. Now, if you try to read book on usul al-fiqh, the principles of fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence, you sometimes struggle because of how much terminology there is. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah wrote very simple book. Very simple and yet great. The greatest, there is no greater book on usul al-fiqh. They consider Imam Shafi'i to be the one who laid the foundations of this science. So he wrote some of these great books. Of course, Al-Kitab Al-the original book or the mother book. And also Al-Kitab of course, in fiqh, this in usul al-fiqh, there is a slight difference, actually a big difference. So after he wrote those, his name spread around. People started hearing of him, and a lot of students started coming. So he was born in the year 150, that's the year of the death of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. And the ulama, they praised him a lot for his knowledge and for his understanding. He only lived, just to jump a little bit forward, 54 years or around 54 years. Just like Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah. When you tell sometimes that Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he only lived 45 years, people are surprised. 45 Hijri years. So multiply 11 by 45, maybe you get a year and something. So 43 plus non-Hijri years. So Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he had a very short life, considering how much he did. Imam Shafi'i almost the same, maybe 10 years difference, 9 years. So how much he achieved, subhanAllah. Because they used to not waste their time. They used to say, I wish I could buy time. Something people, sometimes say a very famous statement, time is money. Time is not money because you can't get it. Because if we could, we would all be queuing for it. Can you give me 1 month, please? I want 2 years. Give me 100 years. We can't buy time. So time is more important than money and gold and anything. Because as soon as this second goes, we can't bring it back. So they used to be very aware of that. And they didn't used to waste time. I will give you just one example of the life of Sheikh Al-Albani rahimahullah, our present day scholar who died some years ago. He used to ask some brothers to give him a pen. So when they used to give him this way, he used to say, don't waste my time so I don't have to turn it around. Give me like this so I straight away take and write. His door at home, he had a door to the library. So some brothers who used to study with him, they said, Sheikh, why did you change? Because this door, when he came to the house, or he built it in a way that opens certain way. He said, look, if I don't make the door open that way, I have to make 2 more steps to get to the books. 2 more steps. And in the day, I can make maybe 10, 20 trips to get a book, to put a book back, to do this. That takes time. So I changed the door, because first he built the door to open one way, then another way, to save time. And sometimes we, subhanAllah, waste so much time. So some of the statements of Imam Al-Shafi rahimahullah, to show his views on some things, and then I will also say some statements of some of the scholars of his time. Imam Shafi rahimahullah said, لأن يلقى الله العبد بكل ذنب إلا الشرك. For a slave to meet Allah with every sin except shirk is better خير من أن يلقاه أو من أن يلقاه بشيء من الأهواء. It's better for him than to meet Allah with something from the desires. They used to call the bid'ah ahwa, innovations, because a person either follows Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or who? Shaitan, his desires. وَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكَ فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أهواءهم, that if they don't reply to you, answer meaning follow you, Allah said, they know they follow their desires. So they used to say the people of ahwa, those who don't follow the sunnah. So he said, for a person to meet Allah with sins other than shirk is better than to be in bid'ah. That's how they used to view it. Same the view of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, Malik, Ahmad bin Hanbal, all of them, because they took it from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was very well known for his zaka, for his great intelligence. And he was known for his memory, but he was also known for his softness and rahmah, mercy towards the people. One of his students, Yunus al-Sadafi rahimahullah, said, "Ma ra'aytu a'qala min al-Shafi'i." I've never met anyone more intelligent than Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. ناظرته يوما في مسألة. Once I had a discussion, debate with him, some mas'ala, some issue. ثم افترقنا. Then after that we parted. فلقيني وأخذ بيدي. Then we met again. So he took me by my hand to show that he loves me. Because they said, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, if there was a wooden pillar in the masjid, he could prove to you, they said, that it's not made of wood. Because he was so strong in argument. Now, just I showed you about Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, when someone gave him a question, remember, about to have relations with his wife in the daytime of Ramadan, but without obeying Allah. Without disobeying Allah. How Imam Shafi'i replied, Safir biha qal. Go traveling, so you're allowed to break the fast then. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah had a similar question, but regarding a date. One man said, some people are strange, like that man is strange, they make strange things. Some man came and said, Sheikh, we have this man, he said, if I swallow this date, my wife taliq, my wife is divorced from me. If I spit it out, also she's divorced. Subhanallah. She's stuck now. They said, Sheikh, what can he do? He said, eat half, spit out half. Subhanallah. Because then if he eats half, he didn't swallow the whole, and he didn't spit out the whole. You see how clever, subhanallah. So they sometimes they say, this is it allowed to help someone who did problem for himself or not? So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah took the hand of this man, and he said to him, ثم قال يا أبا موسى, Abu Musa, his kunya, ألا يستقيم أن نكون إخوانا وإن لم نتفق في مسألة. It's not okay for us, it's not good to be brothers, even if we didn't agree on this issue. Meaning they didn't agree. That's how ulama are. They don't force you. That's why the imams, they say, it's not from the correct opinion of the alim to force people to follow him. That's a real alim. He doesn't force people to follow him. Even in their own family. قال الذهبي رحمه الله, الذهبي after this he said, هذا يدل على كمال عقل هذا الإمام وفقه نفسه. This shows the great knowledge and understanding that this man had, meaning this imam. فما زال النظراء يختلفون. Because all people differ. You have this opinion, I have that opinion. You're not sure, so I'm forcing you now. You shy person, you never want to see me again. And it's not correct. So Imam Shafi'i also said, Al-Quran kalamullah, man qala makhluq faqad kafar. That's a very well known problem, which we will come inshallah to next week when we talk about Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, that the Quran is created, they used to say, some people of bid'ah, and they created great fitna, great problem. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, the Quran is the speech of Allah. It's not, whoever says it's created, he has committed kufr. Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan, one of the great ulama of hadith and fiqh, he said, rahimahullah, أنا أدعو الله للشافعي أخصه به. I make special dua for Imam Shafi'i. So when the people of your own profession, your status, they love you and respect you, then that's the real respect. And Abu Bakr al-Khallad rahimahullah said, أنا أدعو الله في دبر صلاتي للشافعي. At the end of my salah, when Allah especially answers dua, I make dua for Shafi'i. And they don't make any dua, they make the best dua for each other, rahimahumullah. And Imam Al-Shafi rahimahullah said, قراءة الحديث خير من صلاة التطوع. To read and study hadith is better than to pray non-obligatory prayer. And he also said, طلب العلم خير من صلاة النافلة. And that's mutawatir from the Salaf, that to seek knowledge is better than to pray. So you have a choice, meaning when you can do both is better. But you, for example, like Imam Ahmad, when some ulama of hadith came, I can't remember, he left Qiyamul Layl, everything, because all night he was with that alim. Then he went back again to that, because that is a temporary thing. That alim, that scholar only comes for a limited period. If you don't spend time, it's gone. And also Imam Shafi'i, to show you his greatness, he said, Al-mira'u fi ad-din yuqassi al-qalb. Arguing too much about religion makes your heart hard, not soft, hard. وَيُورِثُ الدَّغَائِنِ, and makes people hate one another. That's why, Ikhwan, the Prophet ﷺ said to leave mira, to leave arguing, even if you're right. Why? Because of what Imam Shafi'i said, rahimahullah. Very often you prove nothing, but you have a problem with that brother. So before you argue, think. And also very famous, وَدِدْتُ أَنَّ النَّاسَ تَعَلَّمُوا هَذَا الْعِلْمَ أي كُتُبَهُ عَلَى أَنْ لَا يُنْسَبَ إِلَيَّ مِنْهُ شَيْءٍ. I wish that people learnt this knowledge, meaning his books, and they wouldn't know that I wrote it. Meaning to do ikhlas just for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he also said, مَا نَاظَرْتُ أَحَدًا إِلَّا عَلَى النَّصِيحَةِ. He said, I never had a debate with anyone except to advise them. Meaning not to become big or to show that I am very important. And he also said, rahimahullah, ما كبرني أحد على الحق ودافع إلا سقط من عيني. No one in the debate didn't accept the truth from me except I lost respect for him. ولا قبله, and no one accept the truth from me in a debate إلا هبته, except I showed respect to him. وَاعْتَقَدُّ مَوَدَّتَهُ, and I believed I must love this man. That's the ikhlas in debate. Abdullah bin al-Imam Ahmad, the son of Imam Ahmad, Abdullah, he said, rahimahumullah, سَمِعْتُ أَبِي يَقُولُ, I heard my father, Imam Ahmad, say that Imam Shafi'i said to him, to Imam Ahmad, أنتم أعلم بالأخبار الصحاح منا. You are more knowledgeable than me in authentic hadith. Look, Imam Shafi'i not saying, mashallah, I'm the greatest, I'm the best in everything. No, he acknowledges the truth. Like some ulama of the Salaf used to say, Allah loves the truth. You are more knowledgeable than me. Yani Allah yuhibbul haqq. You're better than me. So they saying to each other, فإذا كان خبر صحيحا, so if there is authentic, if there's some authentic hadith, فأعلمني, so tell me, let me know, حتى أذهب إليه, so I can use it. كوفيا كان أو بصريا أو شاميا, doesn't matter whether it's from Kufa, Basra or Sham. And once Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, a very famous story as well, used to narrate a hadith, and one of the people there said, you also follow this hadith, or you say according to this hadith? So he became angry and said, You see me, رأيتني خرجت من كنيسة? You see me coming out of a church? Or wearing zunnar, that special belt that the non-Muslims used to wear, the Christians. حتى إذا سمعت عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حديثا لا أقول به. So look how they used to consider it. That if I hear a hadith from the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم and I don't agree with it, subhanallah. They used to consider it a great crime. And he also said, رحمه الله, كل حديث عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فهو قولي وإن لم تسمعوه مني. Everything that is hadith from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, that is my opinion, even if you didn't hear it from me. That's why when you read the books of fiqh of Imam Shafi'i, like Imam Nawawi and others, they write Al-Bayhaqi and others, they say, if Imam knew this hadith, he would have said it. And that's every Imam, not just Shafi'i, rahmahullah. And Imam Shafi'i said to one of his students as well, لَيْسَ إِلَى السَّلَامَ مِنَ النَّاسِ سَبِيلٌ. You can never be free from the blame of people, which is true. You can't please everyone. فانظر الذي صلاحك الذي فيه صلاحك فالزمه. Look at what benefits you and better for you and follow that. Meaning, don't please people. That is great nasiha which we should all take, really. And also he gave another nasiha, another piece of advice. إذا خفت على عملك العجب. If you look at your deeds and you fear that you may be impressed with your own deeds, how much I have done, how much. فاذكر, remember, رضا من تطلب. The pleasure of the one whom you seek. The pleasure of whom you seek, the pleasure of Allah. وَفِي أَيِّ نَعِيمٍ تَرْغَبْ. And what na'im, what delight you are seeking, the Jannah, paradise, and to look at the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْ أَيِّ عِقَابٍ تَرْهَبْ. And what punishment you fear. And that is the fire. And worse than that, not to look at the face of Allah. كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون. The disbelievers, Allah said in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, that day they will be screened, there will be hijab between them and their Lord. So the ulama used this ayah. Of course, Surah Al-Qiyamah we have even more clear, and in the hadith we even have clearer than that, that the believers will look at the face of their Lord. That's the belief of Ahlul Sunnah, all the Sahaba, all the four Imams. No one differs. Don't believe those who said Allah has a face is kafir. Some people say, unfortunately. Or who said Allah has two hands is a kafir. No, all the Salaf agree on that. So that's the greatest punishment, not to be able to look at the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam Shafi'i said, فَمَنْ فَكَّرَ فِي ذَلِكَ صَغُرَ عِنْدَهُ عَمَلُهُ. So whoever thinks about that, those great things, his deeds become small, and he continuously wants to do more, because he's not sure, will those deeds be accepted or not? Will his sins be removed or not? And he also said, rahimahullah, آلَاتُ الرِّيَاسَةِ خَمْسٌ. The things that make you a good leader are 5. You know, some people do leadership courses. Just read the biographies of these great people. You don't need leadership course, and you save a lot of money. He said, first, صِدْقُ اللَّهْجَةِ, to be truthful when you speak. وَكِتْمَانُ السِّرِّ, to be able to keep secrets. Not to say everything like BBC News. Even BBC News, I think, don't say everything. Number 3, وَالْوَفَاءُ بِالْعَهْدِ, to be able to keep promises and agreements. Number 4, وَابْتِدَاءُ النَّصِيحَةِ, أي أن تبدي النصيحة, to be able to give advice to other people. وَأَدَاءُ الْأَمَانَةِ, and to keep your trust. 5 things. They're great things. And Imam Ahmad rahimahullah used to say there are 6 people for whom sittatun ad'u lahum saharan. I call and I ask Allah for them before Fajr time. The last third of the night. Before Fajr. Saharan. And Allah described the believers as وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Ashar, plural of sahar, when there is the last part of the night, they do istighfar, they ask Allah for forgiveness. And we, in order to come under that, at least sometimes should do it. Now it's easy, alhamdulillah. Fajr comes around 6 o'clock, alhamdulillah, it's easy. 7 here? Oh, Jama'ah. But I mean, time comes in around 6 o'clock. So you can wake up 5:30. Imagine someone said, I'll give you £1 million. You maybe not sleep all night. Say, Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, £1 million. So when you feel lazy, just think of £1 million. And think that that is nothing compared to what Allah prepared for us, inshallah. And that's how the ulama used to do. They ask for those great people. And we sometimes should ask as gratefulness to the ulama, because wallahi ikhwan, if not for Allah, then the ulama, we don't know anything. We don't know how to believe in Allah. We don't know how to pray, to do wudu, to do hajj, to do siyam, to do anything. How to do even nikah. How to get married. How to do talaq. If you're forced. You know, and we constantly call them. They like the 5th emergency service for us. When nothing else helps, we call them. And sometimes before ambulance we call them. Alhamdulillah. So we should at least sometimes make dua for them. For those who died and for those who are alive. And one of them, Imam Ahmad said, أحدهم الشافعي. One of those 6, Imam Shafi. And there is a narration that Imam Ahmad said, rahimahullah, I make dua for Imam Shafi'i in every salah. In every salah. And what is so amazing about Shafi'i that he loved so much? His knowledge, understanding. So Abu Dawood, the great scholar, whose name, Abu Dawood is a kunya, as you know, the father of Dawood. His name is Sulaiman bin al-Ash'ath al-Sijistani. The person who wrote Sunan Abu Dawood, rahimahullah, one of his sheikhs was Imam Ahmad. So he said, ما رأيت أبا عبد الله, I have never seen Abu Abdullah, Imam Ahmad, يميل إلى أحد ميله إلى الشافعي. I never seen him incline or love anyone more than he loved Imam Shafi'i. Also in relation to anyone who speaks Arabic, wallahi, I advise you always to learn Arabic. If you can, he will appreciate the poetry of Imam Shafi'i. Because Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he wasn't a poet as such, but he used to say, if I didn't see that the ulama, they don't go into poetry deep, I would have become a poet. Because he had the ability. You know, he knew the language very well because he stayed with the Badu, with the Bedouins for a long time, many years, studying the language because they preserved the cleanest, less polluted, diluted Arabic that was available. So he spent time with them. And even now, Ikhwan, from my own practice and being with Arab people and being married to an Arab wife, even things that you think are not Arabic are Arabic. And alhamdulillah, a lot of Arabic remains, but pronounced sometimes differently and may be used in one location. That's why don't rush to say this is not Arabic until you know. And I wish someone made a dictionary of Arabic that is modern, without, foreign words. And maybe it's been already made, I don't know, but I wish someone did. The dialects that are present now and their connection to the real Arabic, the Fusha, the correct Arabic. Because many words, they are still, alhamdulillah, remaining among the people. So Abdul Malik bin Hisham al-Lughawi, very famous for those of you who learn Arabic. You will definitely know Ibn Hisham, rahimahullah. He said, طالت مجالستنا للشافعي. Ibn Hisham, of course, from Egypt, he was, rahimahullah. And Imam Shafi'i, towards the end of his life, he went to Egypt and he settled and he died there, rahimahullah. He said, طالت مجالستنا للشافعي. I sat with Shafi'i a lot, rahimahullah. فما سمعت منه لحنة قط. I have never heard him make a mistake in Arabic. Which is the opposite now, unfortunately. When you sit with many people, you can almost never hear correct Arabic. Which I'm just saying to encourage everyone, Arabs, non-Arabs, to love Arabic. And that love should be shown in us learning Arabic, using Arabic, practicing Arabic. More than any other language. You know, because it's a great language. And Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah said, أَنَّا يَكُونُ ذَلِكَ وَبِمِثْلِهِ فِي الْفَصَاحَةِ يُضْرَبُ الْمَثَلِ. How can Imam Shafi'i have lahan, say something wrong in Arabic, when they give him as an example of eloquence and speaking Arabic correctly? كَانَ أَفْصَحَ قُرَيْشْ فِي زَمَانِهِ. He was the most eloquent of Quraysh in his time. وَكَانَ مِمَّنْ يُؤْخَذُ عَنْهُ اللُّغَةِ. And he was an authority in Arabic. So, for example, they say, who can I learn Arabic? We have an argument on Arabic. Go to Shafi'i. We go both and say, Shaykh, is this correct? Like Google. Better than Google. 100 times. So, he was an authority in the Arabic language. And yet he used to say what? ما تعلمت أي لغة إلا للاستعانة على الفقه. I didn't learn the Arabic not for itself, not to show off. Like some people say, أنا دكتور في العربية. You know, I have a doctorate in Arabic. So, and you should use it. And they, unfortunately, many of those doctorates in Arabic, they use it to attack the deen. A'udhu billah. And he uses his Arabic to attack the religion. What's this point? Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, I learned the Arabic to use it to understand the deen. That's why we should learn it. And you don't buy a fork to put it on a wall, or knife. You buy it for a purpose, to cut bread or to do something, to use it. The same Arabic. That's why they call it min ulum al-ala, the things that you use to do something else. Like some say that Umar said radiallahu anhu, that learn Arabic because Arabic is the key. So if you don't have a key, you can't open the door. Also Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, إِن لَمْ يَكُنِ الْفُقَهَاءُ الْعَامِلُونَ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ فَمَا لِلَّهِ وَلِيٌّ. Which is very true. If the fuqaha, the scholars who are acting on their knowledge, are not awliya of Allah, friends and close to Allah, then Allah doesn't have any friends. It's true. Yani if miskin, like some people want to tell us that some guy who is doing haram and this wali of Allah. A'udhu billah. The scholars that do awliya, the real ones. That's why he said al-fuqaha al-amilun, those who practice their knowledge. And Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah used to say, عليكم بأصحاب الحديث فإنهم أكثر الناس صوابا. I advise you to follow the people of hadith, those who make hadith as their guide, the people of sunnah, because they are more right than other people. An amazing story. Ishaq ibn Rahawai, one of Ishaq ibn Ibrahim, rahimahullah, al-Handhali ibn Rahawai, he married one woman, they say, whose husband had died. The only reason he married that woman was because her husband used to have books of Shafi'i in his library. And he couldn't get them. So he married her. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, wife and books. 2 in 1. And get marry wife, get books free. So this is amazing story that they mention in the biography of Imam Shafi'i. Because wallahi ikhwan, it's true, his books are amazing. Subhanallah, anyone who wants to benefit, anyone who wants to learn knowledge and he doesn't benefit from the books of Shafi'i, he lost a lot. Because his books are amazing. And one of his famous sayings, rahimahullah, is لولا المحابر لخطبت الزنادقة على المنابر. Very famous saying in Arabic. If not for the ink and for the ink pots, you can say, then the zanadiqa, the people who innovators and those who leave the deen, apostates and hypocrites, they would have given khutbah on the manabir, on the pulpits. Why? Because they preserve the hadith and they preserve the ilm. And Imam Ahmad also, to show that he also used to ask things from Imam Al-Shafi'i, he said, rahimahullah, سألت الشافعي عن القياس. I asked Imam Shafi'i about qiyas, because that's his specialization. He's done a lot of work in usul al-fiqh. So qiyas, analogy, how do we do, when do we do? So Imam Shafi'i answered with 2 words, عند الضرورة, when you are forced. Otherwise you never do qiyas when you have Quran and Sunnah. And he also used to say, rahimahullah, العلم ما نفع ليس العلم ما حفظ. The ilm, the real knowledge, is what benefits you, not what you memorize. We have to understand this correctly, ikhwan, because he means the people who show off. Because at the time, they used to have people who just learned the Quran to show off, I'm hafiz, like now, unfortunately. I told you many times, to show off. I told you even before, sometimes I meet people and I say, I am your brother this. He says, I'm hafiz this. I say, mashallah, you hafiz of hadith? I said, no, Quran. I said, it's first step to memorize Quran. It's nice. But second step is what? To understand. Third step, to do what is in the Quran. Until then, you're not hafiz really. That's how the Sahaba used to say. So also they used to warn against people who used to learn hadith just to show how much I memorized. Like now we have brothers say, he memorized the 6 books of hadith. They said it to Shaykh Al-Albani, rahimahullah. He said, it's nuskha ukhra fil maktaba. He said, that's another copy of those books then. And what's the point of memorizing them when we already have them? If you're not going to do anything. Most of the people who say that, they never act on them. I met a brother, he said to me, I've just completed Bukhari. I said, mashallah. Bukhari, the whole of Bukhari. I said, how long did it take you? He said, 1 week. I said, which Bukhari did you complete? Unless you have a different Bukhari in 1 week. He said, yes, I have ijazah, look. It proves I read it. I said, subhanallah, what's this ijazah gonna do for you? In 1 week you read, Allahu Akbar. Bukhari in Arabic, 4 books like this. How can you read it in 1 week? But they call it, I'll tell you the secret. I know, but I'm just telling him that's not correct. They sit from morning till evening, and someone reads like this. And they're looking like this. He read, they understood nothing. You got Bukhari. That's how. That's what Imam Shafi'i say. But otherwise, we must memorize. If you want to be a student of knowledge, you must memorize. But with the ikhlas, with the intention to know what you're memorizing, like Quran or Hadith or something, or some knowledge. The scholars, they made into poetry form, manzuma, to make it easy for us to memorize. But for us to know, that's what he means. Not that we shouldn't memorize. Meaning to have ikhlas. He used to say, "Man lam tu'izzahu taqwa fala izza lahu." Who doesn't feel that he is honored by having taqwa, then he will never have izz. He will never have honor. And he used to say, rahimahullah, "Man lazima ash-shahawat lazimathu ubudiyatu abna'i ad-dunya." That who follows desires, meaning haram desires, not halal desires, haram desires, then he will be forced to be a slave to the people of the dunya. Whatever desires haram, he follows. And he also, we're coming to the end inshallah, he also used to say, لِلْمُرُؤَةِ أَرْكَانٌ أَرْبَعَةٌ. Muru'ah is hard to imagine in English, but it's something that is considered to be decent in a certain society. So for example, most Muslim societies, if not all, they consider, and even now, but it's changing, to have something on your head to be from the muru'ah, especially for the people of ilm and people of deen, people of religion. So if I come like this and give lecture, this sheikh, let's leave. It's not sheikh, it's sheikh, this one. It's a milkshake, this one. It's true, that's muru'ah, for example, an example. And that you should follow, not to make people run from the deen and ilm. That's why don't abuse. We have unfortunately some people who say, those people with the red, I heard with my own ears. They mean this, the Gulf ulama, because they wear the red shumar or khimar in Arabic, you can say also. Those red, and they make some face expressions. That's not allowed to say that. Because it's a custom of those lands, of that country. For example, in Pakistan, India, the Muslims, they wear another dress. In Sudan and Africa, they wear another dress. In Yemen, for example, they wear another dress. So in every country, you have your own dress. It's an example of muru'ah. So in every of those countries, they don't really accept the sheikh to have his head not covered, whether with imama or like this qalansu wa taqiyya or something. And that's why many of our brothers, they follow that. Some have imama, some wear like mashallah our brother. So but now in some countries, general public, they can go without covering sometimes. So that's one aspect of muru'ah, your dress, being decent in society. And it has many things. So Imam Al-Shafi said it has 4 pillars. Husnul khuluq, to behave nice, to learn nice words. Husnul khuluq, your tongue should be nice. Like you brush your teeth, you should clean your tongue. And that requires brushing, but not with a brush. By sitting with nice people, by being with nice. That's why, ikhwan, I always say, and this is advice given to us by the ulama, try to go to Arab countries, even Muslim countries, but especially Arab countries, and live some time there. Because wallahi, even the criminals, they speak better than us sometimes. Why? Because of the environment they live. You see, the environment affects you even if you don't like it. So when the Muslims meet, they say, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. Kayfa haluk? Alhamdulillah. Sallamak Allah. May Allah protect you. May Allah keep you here, high, low. And I'm saying, that's Allah favored us with that. It's not because of just customs. It's because of the deen of Islam. And when they part, the worst one is ma'a salama. That's the worst. Ma'a salama. Have some security. It's better to say assalamu alaikum, to spread the name of Allah as-salam. The worst ma'a salama, that's in Arabic. In other countries, they khuda hafiz. That's worse than ma'a salama even. In my view anyway, I don't know Urdu very well, or Farsi. But it's better to say Salam Alaikum, even in those countries. And people, subhanAllah, when they talk, they say nice things. They make dua for each other. Barakallah feek. No, Barakallah. Barakallah feek. May Allah put barakah in you. Hafizakallah. May Allah protect you. SubhanAllah, that's nice. Husnul khuluq. It's nice to learn that. You know, because we live among the non-Muslims, we start being affected, unfortunately. No? We say bro instead of brother. Yani, not yet brother, it's half. Alright, bro? Yeah, bro. Soon we say b. Alright, b? Soon yani, we don't speak even. We say because we're shortening every time. Some brothers write to me AWW. I thought first, what's AWW? And I was thinking, what can it mean? Then I thought maybe Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa yani wa. Rahmatullah not there. Wa barakatuh. Barakatuh not there. AWW. Someone wrote AA. Maybe Assalamu alaikum. I don't know. Inshallah IA. To be honest, you should ask ulama about this because I'm not sure if you can write Allah A. As-Salam is one of his names. It's permissible to write A for one of the names of Allah. It's a good question to ask the ulama. So the point I'm making is that even the language that we speak, we say, what the heck? I'm saying it sometimes. What the hell? What the heck? And we're referring to hell, to heck. Heck is from hell anyway. Just they don't want to say hell, to be reminded of it. And also the words like G. G comes from Jesus. Oh Jesus. It's not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say, oh Jesus, oh Muhammad. So all of this affects us, whether we like it or not. So we should try correct our tongues. Now, the Prophet ﷺ said nice thing. One of you should not say khabuthat nafsi. Khabuthat nafsi, he said, don't say, I'll now translate. Laqisat nafsi. In the language, if you look at khabuthat and laqisat, both are the same meaning almost. Means my nafs has become bad. I feel bad. But he said, don't say khabuthat, because in Arabic, khabith has bad meaning. If you say khabith, it's dirty, nasty. But he said, even to avoid this, so people don't feel bad, you know. And he told us, don't call each other bad names. Harb, murra. Harb is war. Some brothers would love to be called war. I'm war. Harb. I know some brothers, if you say, Akhi, what do you think war? MashaAllah, Jayid. The Prophet said, don't call yourself that. And he said, don't call yourself murra. Bitter fruit. And because names also nice to hear good names. So we are stress free. We don't say, Harb is coming to my house today. So like they say, I don't know if it's Sheikh Ibn Baz or someone, rahimahullah, a man came to him and said, Sheikh, we have arguments all the time. He said, what's your name? He said something like Dhi'b or something. Is wolf. Subhanallah. I said, what's your wife's name? Or something like tiger or something, tigress. He said, no wonder, Yakhi. You wolf, she's tigress. What are you supposed to, how are you still living, yani? How did you get married even? Subhanallah. So that's husnul khuluq. Yani to be nice to people. And husnul khuluq of course means to be patient sometimes, because some people can call you bad names, or maybe they're tired, they have bad day or something. Number 2, sakha, to be generous. That's great, very important. And many ulama said generosity goes hand in hand with being brave. And being stingy, bakhil, goes hand in hand with being cowardly. Jubn. That's why the Prophet used to say, Allahumma ni'udhu bika min al-bukhli wal-jubn. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from bukhl, from being stingy and with money, and jubn, to be cowardly, because they come together. If you see someone generous, you can assume he's brave. And if you see someone brave, you can assume he's generous. And the other way around. What tawadu', number 3, to be humble. One nusuk, to behave in a proper manner and have good ibadah. That's good muru'ah. And also he said, لا يكمل الرجل إلا بأربع. A man doesn't get complete or full until he has 4 things. بالديانة, good religion. والأمانة, trust, he fulfills his trust. والصيانة, to protect himself and his tongue and everything. والرزانة, and being serious. And the ulama say, no one has ever gone wrong with being serious, but every time they go wrong with being not serious. So if a person is serious, they normally achieve great things. If they take everything lightly and joke about it, most of the time they don't achieve anything. Also, Imam Shafi'i, and we have just a couple left, he said, rahimahullah, لَيْسَ بِأَخِيكَ مَنْ يَحْتَجْتَ إِلَى مُدَرَاتِهِ. It's not a real brother whom you always need to appease, meaning he never accepts anything until, like some brother said to me, like children, you need to carry sweets with you all the time. If you don't give him sweet, he's angry. And that's not a real brother, that's just salam salam, as they say. A real brother is the one who gives you excuses. And that of course applies in the marriage as well, and in the other relationships like friends and others. In the marriage, if you constantly like police state, that's not marriage. It's police. Where were you? What did you do? I mean, from both sides, not only husband or wife. Both sides. I called you, you didn't answer. What's going on? Feel, a'udhu billah, it's police. I am under investigation. So, it's very important to have that. And these are some of the things you benefit. You know, the ulama, not only do they tell you this Quran, this Sunnah, they tell you how to understand Quran and Sunnah. And also he said a very nice thing, rahimahullah, عَلَامَةُ الصَّدِيقِ, a sign of a friend, أَنْ يَكُونَ لِصَدِيقِ صَدِيقِهِ صَدِيقًا, that he is a friend of his friend. So you have a friend, and that friend is your friend's friend, because he loves you, so he loves whom you love. Like the Prophet ﷺ used to give to Khadija's friends after she died, rahimahullah, radiya anha, used to send, if he slaughtered some sheep or something, used to send, and Aisha used to get angry and say about this ajuz, he's always worried, this old woman, you know, sending things, and she's jealous. But the Prophet ﷺ used to respect the friends of Khadija, subhanAllah. That shows that the person is really, and the Prophet said one of the ways to be good to your father is to respect his friends after he dies. And that of course your mother is the same. Also he said very nice thing, مَنْ نَمَّ لَكْ نَمَّ عَلَيْكَ. You know, who gives you other people's news and says, he said, he will say the same about you to other people. So don't allow that in front of you. Someone says, you know that brother, especially if they said about you, say, I don't want to hear, forget it, don't say to me anything. Because shaitan just waiting, you know, shaitan is there all the time. Just he's waiting to get a chance. And don't give those people a chance. And he said, rahimahullah, at-tawadu' min akhlaq al-kiram. To be humble is from the character of the good people, noble people. وَالتَّكَبُّرْ مِنْ شِيَمِ اللِّئَامِ. And to be arrogant is from the characteristics of the lowly people. التَّوَادُعُ يُورِثُ الْمَحَبَّةِ. When you humble, people love you. It makes people love you. وَالْقَنَاعَ تُورِثُ الرَّاحَةِ. And to be satisfied with what you have makes you live at ease. You're not chasing the dunya. You're satisfied, alhamdulillah. And he said, rahimahullah, أَرْفَعُ النَّاسِ قَدْرًا مَنْ لَا يَرَى قَدْرَهُ. Subhanallah. The greatest people are those who don't see their greatness. They don't say, oh, mashallah, I'm great. They're great. Like they said today, we were discussing about the ulama. Like Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. They said in his biography, the people close to him, until his family said to him, wash your clothes, he wouldn't see it's dirty. They would say, we have to wash it. Meaning he wouldn't check it. It's dirty today? Or? We, mashallah, check. Oh, mashallah. You, the wife, you iron properly here. Is 15 degrees. And one of the sheikhs, he said, my sheikh took me to see Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah. So we have big room and waiting. And then he said, I'd never seen Sheikh Ibn Baz, what he looked like. And suddenly he said, an old man came in. I thought he's a cleaner. He said, subhanallah. Because his dress like weird. And it's not like, mashallah, he's ironed and everything. And said, his thing around sideways and like this. He come in and start, everyone, Allahu Akbar, and my sheikh said, this is Sheikh Ibn Baz. I said, what this? I said in myself, I'm saying, this is Sheikh Ibn Baz. Yani, the people, they don't make themselves. He said his qamis, half of the saq, nisf al-saq. Meaning, if you look in Saudi and other Gulf countries, it's very odd to wear like that. Because most people, they wear long. Yani not too long, but long. So the Shaykh is making himself humble to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't care what you think of him. Just he does it. And I asked one Shaykh who used to be a student of Shaykh Al-Albani, rahimahullah. I said, how did he used to dress? He said, like you. I said, what, like this? He said, yes. Most of the time like this, sometimes he dresses more with the khimar or shimar. I said, subhanAllah, like this most of the time. He said, yes. Yani the ulama, they make themselves. And one brother today, Shafiq, Jazahullah khair, he showed me photograph of Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen when he was young. Because mostly we know he's old and the white beard. This one is, mashallah, rarity. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen with black beard. And never seen it. And he, mashallah, Jazahullah khair, showed me. Because still we want to see them, And he had his dress like this in the head. Yani, this half almost. I said, look, the Shaykh doesn't care what you think of him. Just he cares about ilm. Yani. Whether it's like this, like that, Allah alam. Just he comes out maybe. And everyone loves them, subhanallah. Because, as Imam Shafi'i said, أَرْفَعُ النَّاسِ قَدْرًا مَنْ لَا يَرَى قَدْرَهُ. He doesn't consider himself great. They cry. When they said to Shaykh Al-Albani, you muhaddiths, he starts crying. They don't consider themselves that. They're just students. And there was a nice story I will tell you also. I heard on the internet that there are some sheikhs and brothers who attended a rare case when all those ulama were together in Hajj. So they had Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, Ibn Baz, Al-Albani, rahimahumullah, in one khayma, subhanallah, in one tent. So people obviously questions and this and that, so they said, okay, we divide now. Shaykh Ibn Baz in charge. So everyone has to ask Shaykh, can I ask a question? And Shaykh Al-Albani, of course, hadith, if you have question on hadith. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, fiqh. Shaykh Ibn Baz, aqidah. So divide the... So then time for salah came. Of course, they said, Shaykh, you pray, no, you pray, no, you pray, no, you pray. Then Shaykh Ibn Baz said, look Sheikh, يعني, between two now, يعني, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen didn't involve himself. Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah said, look Sheikh, you and me, we're both the same in the Quran. You know what's coming, yeah? But in the Sunnah, you better. And you alim of Sunnah. So pray. Sheikh Al-Albani didn't know what to say. No argument. Yani. He can't say, no, I'm not better. So he started praying. Said, straighten the rows, this, that. So he said to Sheikh Ibn Baz, before starting, Sheikh, he said, should I pray? He didn't stop asking advice, subhanAllah. He said, Sheikh, should I pray short salah or sunnah? Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah said, Sheikh, teach us the sunnah. Yani, both look how they make themselves humble to each other. So, these are ulama, ikhwan. We live different planet. The planet of the ulama is different planet. Wallahi. So, and also Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ فَضْلًا مَنْ لَا يَرَى فَضْلَهُ. And the greatest of virtue is the one who doesn't see his own virtue. So, finally to say that Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he, as all the Imams, he never said that people should blindly follow him, or that they should prefer his opinions over the Sunnah. He prohibited his followers from that. Also, he, rahimahullah, to show that fatwa can change and opinions of scholars can change depending on how much knowledge they have, how much proof they have, and many other things. He used to have many opinions in Iraq when he was in Baghdad. And generally in Iraq, he used to have many opinions which he changed. And the people, the brothers and sisters who learn fiqh, they will know that in the fiqh of Imam Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, it's known as Al-Madhhab Al-Qadim and Al-Madhhab Al-Jadid. When he moved to Egypt, he changed many of his opinions because he got access to different ulama. He got access to different proofs. He analyzed some of the things he used to say, and he decided to follow that which was more right. And that shows that the scholars, their example for us, that we should never say that this is the opinion, yani that we will never change, like some brothers we hear say. You can change it. We think now this is the correct opinion. But tomorrow if we think some opinion is stronger, we can change. Now يعني we have the issue of fasting on Saturday. Brothers, oh, a'udhu billah, so I received many emails, maybe text, maybe this. Just relax, akhi. Some ulama, majority of ulama said you can fast Saturday. Some ulama say you can't fast Saturday. So relax, يعني don't knock all the ulama of Islam to prove 1, 2 ulama right. Calm down, take everything slowly, and respect the other people. And you can't knock all the ulama to say that one sheikh said, 2 sheikhs said, and vice versa, the other people can't knock those other sheikhs. Just respect each other, like Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said. And he also said that I never debated anyone except I wished the truth came from him. And I don't want to be the one winning, so-called. So he, rahimahullah, died in the year 204, so he was born 150, so 50 plus years, 53, 54. And he was only, he achieved so much. And if you have any questions, I apologize that it's a little bit longer than normal, because there was just a lot of things. Some of them, to be honest, when I was preparing, because it took me a few days just to read his biography. And then, of course, you have to choose what you leave, because you can't read everything. So I couldn't really leave a lot of things. They were just too good. And if I made it too long, I apologize, but I think it's better than watching Match of the Day, alhamdulillah. And people running after a ball and then kicking it somewhere. Alhamdulillah, it's better to spend time with these great people than to spend time with other people, even good Muslims, let alone non-Muslims, let alone non-Muslims who are not dressed very well, and others. let alone those who run for 1.5 hours after one ball. So I know that many brothers, they like sports and that, but we should try and spend some time with the scholars of Islam. If we can't spend with them in person, at least by reading their biographies and their books and benefiting from them. Jazakumullah khairah. If I made some mistakes or you have some questions which I can answer, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairah. Jazakumullah khairah for coming. And Jazakumullah khairah everyone who assisted us and the brothers here. Now, we had the question, alhamdulillah, last week. I think about madhab and things. I think it was answered, but still it's good to answer it, because when we talk about the 4 imams, I think the question was in relation to, is it permissible to be in a madhab or something like that. I think in the first week it came as well, when we talked about the great Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. The obligation that in the Quran we have from Allah and in the Sunnah from the Prophet ﷺ is to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. So any Muslim, or rather every Muslim, is obliged to do that. Man and woman, we are obliged to take the Quran and Sunnah as our references and judges. If we, for some reason, can't understand the Quran and Sunnah, we of course use and we ask the ulama, the scholars of Islam, to explain them to us. So if you do not take the madhab or the opinions of one alim to be over the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then of course that's the waqi', that's the now present day situation with most countries, if not all Muslim countries, that in some way or another they have the opinions of these 4 imams, especially in issues of fiqh like divorce and marriage and you can say mu'amalat, those transactions, financial transactions and otherwise commercial transactions. We have that in most countries, if not all. So if that is not taken to be above the Sunnah with that condition, and it doesn't lead to people hating other Muslims, because unfortunately we have had that and we still have, and it doesn't lead to ta'assub, that someone obstinately follows someone's opinion against the Sunnah, then of course that is something that even scholars used to do. So I'll give you examples. Most scholars of Islam used to follow a madhab. In what sense? That they used to consider the way an imam saw that issue to be more right than other imams. I will give you examples. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he's considered from the ulama of the Hanabila. He used to say, Ashabuna, Ashabuna, Ashabuna. Anyone who doesn't believe me, let him read his books. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. But they would follow the Sunnah. If they see there is a Sunnah, and Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. Imam Ahmad himself, rahimahullah, we'll talk about it inshallah next week. He has most opinions. He has 2 or more opinions. Because he would change it according to the dalil, the proof. Imam Nawawi, Shafi'i. Imam Ibn Hajar, Shafi'i, rahimahumullah. Ibn Khuzaymah, Shafi'i. Al-Bayhaqi, Shafi'i. Al-Zayla'i, Hanafi. And others. Zayla'i even a scholar of hadith, rahimahullah. So the real scholars, they're the ones who know the proof and they follow it. So the answer to that question, is it permissible to be in a madhab? Yes, if you follow those conditions. But otherwise, make your number 1 priority to know the Sunnah, because that's what your Imam said. If you claim that you follow Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, for example, he told us and you to follow the Sunnah. And if the Sunnah you think is explained by his sayings, yes, but where he's wrong, you're not allowed to follow. With those conditions now.